Hi everyone, my name is Nicola Doherty and I lead the education business here at LinkedIn across EMEA and LATAM. Our education teams are responsible for partnering with academic institutions across the region, helping them as they adapt and thrive in this brand new world of work. Now, firstly, before I start, I want to thank you all in advance for your patience in listening to me in English, but I promise you it's much better than my Portuguese or my Spanish. So, as you've heard earlier from my Microsoft colleagues, the rapid pace of innovation and the degree of technological change has never been higher. Industries all across Latin America are changing fundamentally due to the transformation in our technology, our workplaces, and our workforces. And educational institutions are experiencing these changes through two frames. One, organizational disruption as an employer themselves and a place of work. And secondly, educational disruption as the creator of the workforce of the future. Effectively, the pandemic has shined a harsh light on what was already a widening skills gap around the world, a gap that will need to be closed with an even greater urgency to accelerate economic recovery. And this longer term disconnect between supply and demand for skills in the labour market appears to be driven by three primary long term factors. Firstly, the rapid emergence of AI powered technologies that are propelling a whole new era of automation. Secondly, the growing need for technological skills to compete in a rapidly changing commercial landscape. And three, the drop off in employer based training investments over the past 2 decades. Now, navigating these challenges to close these skills gaps will require a renewed partnership between stakeholders across the public, private, and non-profit sectors. Now, we're seeing massive shifts in how organizations work as the usage of AI and automation increases significantly. And this has two significant impacts. Firstly, in the changing skill needs of the labour market, and then secondly, in the skills required internally within each of our educational institutions. And what I hear so often from our customers in education is that the practice of keeping their curriculum up to date in a constantly evolving labour market is a challenging one. How do they understand core and emerging skills required across various industries across the labour market? How to gauge future demand from emerging jobs? And providing institutions with access to the data to identify what skills we require in the future. It's key to ensuring that students are adequately prepared for the workplace. Now, one of the ways that LinkedIn helps our partners better understand and manage against these macroeconomic pressures and challenges is through our data. And that comes from the sheer scale of the LinkedIn platform. Now, this slide here shows you that this is a virtual representation of LinkedIn's member community, and it's called a digital map that we call the economic graph. And ultimately what it is, it's a digital map representing the real life, real time global workforce. And it consists of the data and connections that exist between over 800 members around the world, 800 million members around the world, 57 million companies, 24 million open jobs at any given time, 38,000 skills mapped across each of those jobs, and over 120,000 universities. Now, this is an incredibly detailed and rich map of the working world, and it's ever growing, ever changing, and constantly updated. Using this data, we can see what jobs have the highest demand at a regional, national, or local level. For example, in Brazil, this is a list of the top 10 roles that are most in demand right now. And underpinning the significance of technical and technological skills, 8 out of 10 of these roles are IT orientated. And we can see, for example, IT recruiters, site reliability engineers, and data engineers sitting there in the top 3 places, followed up by cybersecurity specialists, business development representatives, web traffic managers, and so on. And when we pivot to Mexico, when we look at the same data set, we can see some strong differences and also similarities between the two data sets between both Brazil and Mexico. While we see, for example, 5 of the roles here are in common with Brazil, where we see the business development representatives, UX researchers, data scientists, etc. But the other 5 have a higher demand in Mexico. For example, the customer service analysts and the clinical research assistants. And while the roles that you can see here are still heavy on technical skills, with about 7 out of the 10 of them being quite indexed on having strong IT or technology skills. There are 3 roles there, for example, the business development representatives and the customer service analysts, that have skills that are highly transferable, opening up opportunities in this space for more graduates. If we peel this back another layer, we can also see the underlying skills that match these in-demand roles. Focusing on Brazil, we've broken out the representative skills that are required for each of these positions. And a recent student survey conducted by us highlighted that 61% of professionals felt that their studies did not fully prepare them for their career. Now, if education institutions can apply this methodology to break down the skills that their graduates will require when they enter the workforce, this will go a significant way to reducing those skill gaps that they perceive at the point in which they start their world of work. However, I would add that given the rapid pace in which technology is changing and the demand for skills evolves, it is impossible to expect that a single university would have the ability to maintain expertise and knowledge of all of these skills. And there is an opportunity here for institutions to explore partnerships with public and private organizations to complement their curricula where appropriate. And I would very much kind of highlight here, for example, a lot of those very heavily tech-oriented skills that we saw in the Brazilian slide. Now, while a lot of this is focused on hard or technical skills, I would like to emphasize the importance of the transferable and soft skills. The World Economic Forum, in collaboration with LinkedIn, highlighted the 10 highest demand skills estimated for 2025. And as you can see, there's a significant proportion of these skills would be considered as soft or transferable. Ones such as communication, analytical thinking, creativity, or influence are required across a vast spectrum of industries and occupations. And these are also highly difficult to automate or replace with artificial intelligence. So in order to future-proof our students, these are the skills that every student should be developing in preparation for graduation. And my recommendation would be that these are also incorporated within our curricula over the next couple of years. Now, over the next 3 years, we anticipate that the proportion of people working in digital jobs is going to increase significantly by over 149 million jobs. Software development accounts for the largest single share of this forecast, but roles in related fields like data analysis, cybersecurity, and privacy protection are also poised to grow substantially. This is already happening in Latin America, as software engineers is now the fastest growing occupation in Mexico, Brazil, Costa Rica, and Ecuador. And with the rise in flexible and remote working, Latin America has an opportunity to be at the forefront of the digital economy. The success of any transformation is dependent on the support of the employees who are driving the change. And supporting educators in building the skills necessary to adapt to a new and changing educational environment is critical. Investing in professional development to support this change will enable institutions to have a lasting impact. And so, in summary, while the pace of the digital economy is only accelerating, Latin America is pivoting towards the opportunities afforded by new technologies and changing workplaces. Educational institutions are at the forefront of this societal transformation and can adapt and thrive through a data-driven approach to education and workforce planning, supporting their educators in the usage of new technology and teaching practices, and also strategically partnering with other organizations to complement their existing processes. So for me, thank you very much for your time. Please don't hesitate to reach out to me or my team if you'd like any further information on anything that we've shared today. Thank you.